On Friday, Attorney General Merrick Garland elevated the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney David Weiss to special counsel investigating Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. But before we unpack all that, and there's a lot to unpack, probably across many videos, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. Maybe check out my Patreon. I'd appreciate the support. All right, folks, so at least on paper, the prayers of so many Republicans across this country have been answered because for months, damn near a year, if not longer, sitting Republican politicians, congresspeople, governors, senators have been calling on David Weiss, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney investigating Hunter Biden over a span of years since the Trump administration, to be promoted to special counsel, giving him additional powers and status and privilege, a degree of separation from the Department of Justice and the Biden-appointed Attorney General Merrick Garland, who in turn is separated somewhat from President Biden himself. And at long last, their prayers have been answered. And they are reacting quite differently from how you would imagine, since this is what they wanted. But let's go to the Attorney General's public remarks on the matter, and we'll go from there.
In a July 2023 letter to Congress, Mr. Weiss said that he had not to that point requested special counsel designation. On Tuesday of this week, Mr. Weiss advised me that in his judgment, his investigation had reached a stage at which he should continue his work as a special counsel, and he asked to be so appointed. Upon considering his request, as well as the extraordinary circumstances relating to this matter, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint him as special counsel. This appointment confirms my commitment to provide Mr. Weiss all the resources he requests. It also reaffirms that Mr. Weiss has the authority he needs to conduct a thorough investigation and to continue to take the steps he deems appropriate independently, based only on the facts and the law. Mr. Weiss will also continue to serve as U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware. As special counsel, he will continue to have the authority and responsibility that he has previously exercised to oversee the investigation and decide where, when, and whether to file charges. The special counsel will not be subject to the day-to-day supervision of any official of the department, but he must comply with the regulations, procedures, and policies of the department. Consistent with the special counsel regulations, at the conclusion of Mr. Weiss's work, he will provide me with a report explaining the prosecution or declination decisions reached by him. As with each special counsel who has served since I have taken office, I am committed to making as much of his report public as possible, consistent with legal requirements and department policy. Today's announcement affords the prosecutors, agents, and analysts working on this matter the ability to proceed with their work expeditiously and to make decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law.
All right, so there you have it. That's Attorney General Garland's justification for appointing David Weiss as a special counsel. And again, on paper, this is what Republicans have been clamoring for over a year, and we'll get into that either in this video or in another video. But yeah, so basically the situation here is David Weiss, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, had been, as a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, investigating Hunter Biden, the son of President Biden. Now, David Weiss could have been fired at any time. The moment that Joe Biden was inaugurated, he had the hiring and firing power to remove all former U.S. attorneys. But he allowed the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney David Weiss to continue investigating his own son, which, as I've said before, is an extraordinary act of commitment to ethics that Donald Trump would never allow. Donald Trump would never have allowed an Obama-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate Ivanka, and we all know it. So Joe Biden is once again demonstrating his vastly superior commitment to ethics than Donald Trump, and it's simply a fact. But besides that, that investigation was allowed to continue. And David Weiss was assured by Merrick Garland that, listen, you're doing this as a U.S. attorney, but if you feel that you need additional prerogatives, additional powers, perhaps as a special attorney, which is different from a special counsel, or even indeed a special counsel, just make the request and it'll probably be approved. And what we see here is Merrick Garland honoring that vow, which he publicly made, because now David Weiss is saying, hey, listen, previously I didn't think that I needed special counsel status, but now I do, and I think you should grant it. And Garland has done just that. So Axios has, again, a quick breakdown of it. So Garland said the announcement comes after the investigation into the president's son had reached the stage where the powers of a special counsel were necessary, that Weiss requested to be elevated to that designation on Tuesday. And you heard what he said there. A spokesperson for the White House counsel's office referred questions to the Justice Department or Hunter Biden's personal representatives because, of course, the White House is not representing Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is the civilian son of President Biden. He has no formal relationship with the White House or the Biden administration. Therefore, he is not protected by White House counsel. Weiss wrote in a court filing on Friday that the plea deal between Hunter Biden's attorneys and the government had collapsed and is expected to go to trial. Following additional negotiations after the hearing held on July 26, 2023, the parties are at an impasse and are not in agreement on either a plea agreement or diversion agreement. Hunter Biden in June agreed to plead guilty to not paying taxes in 2017 and 2018. His plea deal hit a snag in court less than a month after the judge said she wasn't ready to accept the terms of a revised deal. Because, again, if a defendant and the prosecutor investigating the defendant agree, if both parties agree to a particular plea deal, it still has to be approved by the presiding judge. If the judge says no, this deal doesn't work for me, I think it's too extreme, I think it's too weak, the judge can reject it. So Hunter Biden's attorney, Chris Clark, said in a statement on Friday that when all of these maneuverings are at an end, my client will have resolution and will be moving in with his life successfully. I assume he meant on. So yeah, so that's where we are here. I will also just add this in because we're going to cover it, I think, in a different video. We're already 6 minutes in, so we'll probably cover it in a different video. Republicans who had previously requested that David Weiss, the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney for Delaware, be given special counsel status by Attorney General Garland. Now that decision has been made, their wishes were granted. Now they're slamming the decision, saying it's part of the Justice Department's effort to attempt a Biden family cover-up. So Republicans say, hey, make this man a special counsel. And then Attorney General Garland does just that. And then they're like, hey, that's not what we wanted. You're actually trying to cover up for the president. And of course, because, again, Republicans are inconsistent and unprincipled as a general rule. We're going to cover that because the reactions have been hilarious in a separate video. But that's where we are with it. That means you and me and everybody else are going to be stuck with Hunter Biden probably until the day we die as a result of this. But we'll see what happens.